Happy Monday, everyone. Time for another live commentary. For today's bout, we have a round of 16 bout from the women's foil event at Doha. This one is between Lee Kiefer and Larissa Korobeynikova. Let's do this. 3, 2, 1, play. Okay, so you'll be unsurprised to learn that Korobeynikova will end up winning this bout because I think the last women's foil bout from Doha that I covered was her fencing debut in the round of 8. But this is another one where these two opponents both met a couple months after this bout took place at Tokyo. In this case, it was in the semifinal, and Lee won crushingly. I think it was like 15-6. So we can do some of the comparison between this bout and the one at Tokyo. One thing that really struck me about the bout at Tokyo was the sheer preponderance of counterattacks, remises, and overall just kind of annoying actions by Lee. I think normally first thing you think of when you see Lee Kiefer fence is her very fast marching attack into a flick over the back. That's a very common tactic by her. But in her bout with Korobeynikova at Tokyo, she was kind of more of honestly kind of mirroring some of Korobeynikova's favorite actions right back at her. So we'll see what her preferred method is here. We do know that she will lose this bout, but it's interesting to see nonetheless. Alright, and we get underway. So, Korobeynikova trying to march here. Lee takes over the blade. That's her pretty normal attack. Now, Lee does like to fence pretty fast overall. Being able to force the bout to a high tempo like this with these very fast, long attacks is quite useful for her. Point and line on defense, but Korobeynikova catches her. And unable to find the blade as kind of her second option after that point and line failed. But undeterred, Lee continues to march. Korobeynikova takes the blade. Can't really find a good riposte, though. Lee tries to step in with Preem. That is another thing that she's kind of known for. She does like that Preem line when the distance gets close. With all attack attempted by Korobeynikova, manages to follow it up. Lee crushes distance, infighting, and no touch happens. Halt is called, and we resume. Alright, Korobeynikova on the march. Oh, whose is that? I have no idea. How do you call that? Referee says attack right. And I'll assume that the referee is correct, because I have no idea about that call. That's too tight for me to separate, unfortunately. Is there a video review happening, or is Korobeynikova replacing a piece of equipment? I can't tell. I don't think I saw Lee signal for it, so I'd assume it's an equipment thing from the right. And here we go. Alright, Korobeynikova on the march. So point and line didn't work too well for Lee before. This time she just keeps the blade out of the way and I guess looks for a parry post at the end there. Korobeynikova just goes off target though. Alright, Lee marches. Typical Lee, and finishing with a nice flick over the front shoulder. That is pretty much Lee's bread and butter type of attack these days. And it's incredibly quick too. She covers a lot of ground in the strip very fast. Okay. Oh, does Korobeynikova stop there? That's the question. Okay, Lee's asking for a video. I think that's why. It did kind of feel like Korobeynikova might have paused that. It's really up to the ref's interpretation, I'd imagine. So I could see this going either way, depending on the slow motion. Ref's having quite a long look at this one. Now, this is actually a very long video review. That means, I'd imagine that might be because the call is going to change, if I had to guess, but this is unusually long. This is going to give both these fencers more time to think as well, just having so much downtime. But it's not like these two haven't fenced each other a bunch before. I think they all know, certainly better than me, what to do against each other. Okay, so the call is reprise from the right, so that'd be 3-1, and we keep fencing. Again, Lee's defensive options, doesn't like she has that much. Yeah, tries kind of an attack and prep idea. Korobeynikova just opens the distance a little and hits with the riposte. So kind of a reverse situation. At Tokyo, Lee got up to like a 5 or 6 to 1 lead. And it looks like that's now reversed. Korobeynikova pulling quite ahead early on here. Goes off target with what I believe was a remise there, technically. Alright, Lee with the fast attack. Very withheld off the line. Kind of French in that respect. And able to find one. So, 2-4. Again, Lee's fast attacks are really her strongest action in general. Not necessarily against Korobeynikova. But they are probably going to be what she's most comfortable with. Korobeynikova kind of matching her tempo, also going quite fast on the attack. Lee tries to trample her, but Korobeynikova gets a cheeky stop hit running away. And this is something Lee's kind of vulnerable to. Just because she likes to go so withheld with her arm when she's going fast like that. Stop hits can be somewhat effective. Ooh, I think Korobeynikova stops there. Feels like attack left to me. Yep, referee agrees. All right, Korobeynikova on the march again. What is Lee going to do on defense? That's really the question. Looks her kind of sweeping circle 6 parry post. That doesn't work. Infighting happens. Eventual remise for Korobeynikova. I guess the ref called halt before that touch was delivered. All right, Lee takes over the attack, goes withheld, but again, that's why that withheld attack can be dangerous for Lee, because Korobeynikova is at perfect distance to stop hit, and Lee's hand is too late to hit. This is something that, in the kind of marquee women's foil matchup between Lee and Korobeynikovas teammate, Gladzova, she uses to great effect. But another attack by Lee, another point for her, 4-5. Managing to close things up. Korobeynikova kind of doing a withheld attack of her own there, a little bit. Goes off target, though. Starting very close distance here. Alright. Lee finds the blade in... okay. Okay, so it looks like Lee is trying to step in with Preem. That's probably a safe bet, because she is pretty good at that line when the distance collapses. The question is, can she get in safely? Because again, like... the stepping into distance is really the vulnerable part there, and Korobeynikova has shown that she can stop hit quite effectively if she chooses to just not let the distance collapse that fast. Okay, another long attack by Korobeynikova, but Lee parries and starts. Very slow march by Lee. Kind of uncharacteristically slow for her. And, yeah, Korobeynikova can slip in another possible attack and possible counterattack. I'm curious as to why Lee was going so slow there. Now she accelerates, but another stop hit off target for Korobeynikova. So this withheld idea might not be the best anymore. Again, more infighting. Oh, Lee doesn't find the blade, though, and it's Korobeynikovas remise. Alright, another attack by Korobeynikova runs right into Lee's parry riposte. That's just good hand speed by Lee there. Again, another kind of withheld beat attack by Lee, but it's another off-target counterattack for Korobeynikova. This is quite a disturbing pattern, and I really feel like Lee's got to change something up with this attack. Or... I don't know. Let's see. Another fast attack by Korobeynikova. Goes off target. Let's see. Alright, Lee starts again. Again, very slow, kind of disrupting her own march a little bit. Accelerates, but Korobeynikova takes the blade. Off target with her lunge there. It must be said that on a lot of these, and this was true at Tokyo as well, Korobeynikovas accuracy isn't that great. Again, running into that same parry 8 riposte that Lee did earlier. Yeah, at Tokyo, Korobeynikova was having a lot of trouble just turning lights on. And was getting a lot of off targets when really she shouldn't have been. And the same kind of seems to be true here. She's not really converting a lot of these attacks. Who stopped there? Okay, so I don't actually know who stopped or who started first there after they stopped. It didn't feel simultaneous though. So, apologies. I can't really parse this. These are some tough calls for this bout. Or maybe I'm just tired. In the meanwhile, Zakatulina is fencing Senegalia. I've heard the name before. I don't think I've ever seen her fence, though. At least not super deep analysis. It's interesting. I might cover one of those bouts in the future. All right. Here we go. That was no touch. That was attack off target. So, Korobeynikova on the march once again. What's new? Lee being a little bit more active and disruptive this time. Able to step in and, again, can't find that touch behind the head. She's been struggling with that a bit as well. Takes the blade, starts. Nice varied tempo there. Finishes short. Korobeynikova escapes and starts. Lee trying to step in, and Korobeynikova just finishes in close. So, I kind of eat my words from before. That was actually a beautiful touch in close there. And one that Korobeynikova was kind of struggling with at Tokyo. Especially against Lee. Another parried post for Lee off target. Korobeynikova is kind of having some trouble with Lee's parried post, it must be said. She had 2 in that kind of 8 line before. Although again, Lee's 2 withheld here and just unable to find the target in close. And Korobeynikova gets 1 light off target with the counterattack. So it's really Lee's attacks that are letting her down here, which is sort of unfortunate because attacks are normally Lee's like most effective action in general. Finds a nice flick though there, as Korobeynikova was kind of scrambling on defense. Looked like she was actually trying to set up a stop hit, but I think Lee's speed was different than what she was expecting. Lee, okay. Probably a very obvious feint there by Lee into some sort of remise attempt, but I imagine off the line that would just give it to Korobeynikovas attack, so I don't really know. Lee again on the march, very tempo, finishes. That was nice. That's the very tempo making it very hard for Korobeynikova to find a good moment to counterattack, and she kind of just guessed wrong there. And Lee was able to finish easily. And now we're tied up at 8. With only a few seconds left in the period, there may be a touch here. Korobeynikova is pushing quite hard, but time runs out. Okay, so 8-8. A very different situation than what we had at Tokyo. In fact, I don't think the Tokyo bout even made it to the second period. So yeah, I gotta say, Lee's attacks are... There have been a few brilliant ones, but on the whole, they just haven't really been that effective. Compared to at least what we expect from Lee. Korobeynikova, on the other hand, looks pretty similar to what I remember from the Tokyo bout. She was kind of having some accuracy problems. She was kind of running into some parrier posts. But across the board, her stop-it game is on point. And especially against Lee, who likes to go withheld so much. That might just be all she needs, if Lee can't kind of dial in these attacks of hers. One thing we really haven't seen is Korobeynikova really relying on second intention. I know that is something that she can pull out quite a bit. I don't know if she's holding that in reserve on purpose or if she's just too afraid of Lee's parry post to try it. But for example, that parry 8 line, she could easily show into that, for example, and just take the play back in close. It's possible she's afraid of Lee's infighting, but that hasn't really seemed to be the case so far. They've both been pretty cavalier about just stepping in when they're out of other options. So we'll see. Might be interesting to see if either fencer really changes their strategy here. Because so far this is looking a lot like their Tokyo bout. These two are very much in both of their comfort zones. Another fast attack by Lee finishes with that same shoulder line, goes off target on Korobeynikovas' arm though. Alright, here comes Korobeynikova. Actually, that might have been Lee's attack still, but I doubt it. Either way, it's an off target. Okay, Korobeynikova continues to push. Lee takes it over though. Finishes withheld. Korobeynikova escapes, tries to go back in. Finishes long. Long finishes back and forth now. Interesting. Oh, Lee tried that shoulder line and missed. Takes the blade and able to... Okay. So Lee's Americanism is kind of showing there. Just pounding out the touch. One shoulder flick fails, just go again, just go again, just go again, and then finally a remise to close it out with a nice twist. And to be fair, we saw that a lot in her bout with at Tokyo as well. She was very much on her scrappy side. The call is attack right. Interesting. Okay. I guess Korobeynikova didn't stop there. Oh, again, that accuracy is really letting her down here. That would have been beautiful. But she just hit off target. Oh, weird twisty situation. I couldn't actually see where Lee's blade was. But it's 1 light for Korobeynikova. 9-9. Alright, Korobeynikova attacks. Lee escapes. Korobeynikova tries that sudden remise. That's kind of the second intention idea I was mentioning, just without the blade. But recommitting, Lee is able to pick one up. 10-9. But it is kind of cool to see that she's now trying the second intention / remise something to do after her first lunge fails. Lee again just goes off target with that shoulder type finish again. That's probably right off target. Yep. So it is kind of concerning for Lee, actually, that she hasn't been able to land that same shoulder touch that she's gotten several times in the first period. Oh, both stop, both go, maybe? That's a close one. Okay, attack right. That makes sense. That's another very tight call. Okay, there's that remise working for Korobeynikova this time. Her accuracy does not disappoint her. And Lee kind of just wasn't running away from that like she could have. In fact, Lee kind of was just standing around. Infighting, off target eventually for Lee. You can see that she's really going for those touches, though. Oh, Lee again goes with held off the line. Korobeynikova picks up a counterattack basically for free. And again, that's the problem with that withheld start, especially right off the line. You're very vulnerable to stuff like that. Oh, Lee stops. Oh no, I think Lee's tilting right now. This is not good for her. Okay, finds the blade. Able to reset. Korobeynikova takes the blade back and starts. And Lee, again, standing still parry post attempted, but Korobeynikova finishes short. And this is pretty much out of Lee's hands at this point. Korobeynikova just has to get lucky once. Again, really searching for that low line to finish. Lee's able to defend it, though, with another parry 8 and starts herself marching very slowly. Again, still very slow. Not really varying the tempo much either. Accelerates. Tries infighting and goes for that preem line at the end, and no lights. So her attack is still dangerous. Korobeynikova still has to respect it. Again, Lee on the offense. Finds it. Oh, wow. That was actually amazing. Right through Korobeynikovas parry. Simple finish with a lunge. That's rare enough in foil these days. Meanwhile, Korobeynikova is probably... I have a feeling that might be actually a tactical weapon swap or something, because this is probably the most dangerous moment for her, is when Lee's just now starting to come back. Was able to pull one back from 10-14. So Lee would have quite a bit of momentum, and a little break in the fencing can actually reset that quite a bit. It can have quite a big psychological impact. Let's see. 2 attacks. I have no clue how to separate this one. What's the referee going to say? That's too tight of a call for me to make. I think the referee is having a look at the slow motion of his own volition, which is natural considering it's 11-14. You don't want to make a mistaken call right now. Ref's having a very long look at this one as well. Kind of like the previous situation that happened. This one's even tighter though, honestly. I have no idea. Let's see what he says. Oh, wow. Attack from the right is no. Attack from the left arrives, and it's 12-14. Another crucial momentum touch for Lee. Let's see if she can keep it going. Oh, big step, and again, 2 withheld with the blade. Korobeynikova picks up a counterattack, and that's it. 15-12. The outcome was never in doubt, but pretty impressive rally there at the end by Lee, but again, just kind of her attacks weren't really panning out the way they usually do. In fact, that may be why at Tokyo she was going for a lot more scrappy type, like counterattack, stop hit type actions, rather than relying on her attack so much. That may have been just from lessons learned in this bout. I don't know. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I think probably in the next few videos I'll do some tournaments other than this one. I know I've been doing a lot of Doha, but I think it is pretty cool to look at the interplay between these bouts and the identical matchups that happened at Tokyo. But I will diversify a little bit moving forward. So, until then, as always, stay sharp.